ever feel like the stock market's kind of like a game rigged against, the average
It
person?
is interesting you use the word game, actually.
Yeah.
There's definitely, a strategic element to it, that's for sure, especially with short selling. Not for the faint of heart.
That's what we're diving into today, short selling, and one firm that's been shaking things up, Hindenburg Research. They've been making headlines with some, let's say, bold claims.
Yeah, they've definitely made a name for themselves, that's for sure.
So before we get into Hindenburg and their targets, for those of us who don't have MBAs, break it down. What is short selling?
Okay, so imagine this. You're betting against a company. Not just like hoping it doesn't do well, you're actually betting on it.
Okay, so how does that even work?
So you're essentially borrowing shares of a company's stock, right?
Mm.
And then you sell them at the current price.
Wait, so you're selling something you don't even own?
In a way, yeah. You're borrowing it with the promise to return it later. But here's the thing. You're betting that the price of those shares will go down. If it does, you buy them back at the lower price, return them to the lender, and pocket the difference.
Ah, so it's like you're profiting off of someone else's misfortune.
Well, yeah, I guess you can see it that way. It's definitely a high-risk, high-reward kind of strategy.
So risky. And Hindenburg Research, they're the ones taking these risks, right? But they're not doing it blindly.
Oh, absolutely not. Their reports, they're known for being really meticulously researched. They go deep, often packed with, all these detailed allegations of wrongdoing.
And these reports, they're not just like politely suggesting a company is doing something wrong. These things cause shockwaves, don't they?
Yeah, you could say that. When Hindenburg releases a report, the market, it definitely takes notice.
So what's the common thread we're seeing in these Hindenburg reports?
Well, a lot of times they're accusing companies of basically puffing themselves up to appear more valuable than they actually are.
So like putting on a show for investors.
Right. They're looking for companies who are presenting this facade of success to investors. And their goal is to, lift the curtain and reveal what's really going on behind the scenes.
And they've got a few companies in their crosshairs right now, right?
Yeah, 3 in particular that have been making headlines.
All right, well, let's start with our first case study, Roblox. I've even heard of this one, and I'm like the opposite of a tech person.
Yeah, Roblox is huge. It's a massive online gaming platform, super popular with, younger audiences.
So what did Hindenburg find in their research on Roblox?
They honed in on a really critical metric for online platforms, daily active users, or DAUs.
DAUs, right. So like how many people are actually using the platform every day?
Exactly. And Hindenburg's report, well, it alleged that Roblox was artificially inflating those DAU numbers.
Inflating, so like making it seem like way more people were playing games than actually were.
Exactly. Potentially to mislead investors about the true popularity of the platform.
And that's not good. But how could they even do that? Isn't it all, trackable?
Well, that's just it. Hindenburg, they dug into Roblox's definition of a DAU, and it was let's just say it was pretty loose.
Loose how?
They were basically saying that multiple accounts, even if they were being used by the same person, could be counted as multiple DAUs.
So one kid with 5 different accounts would count as 5 separate users.
According to Hindenburg, yeah, that's how they were interpreting it.
Wow. So it's like gaming the system to make those user numbers look way more impressive.
That was Hindenburg's argument, and, it gained people's attention.
So Roblox's stock, what happened? Did it tank after that Hindenburg report?
It did initially, yeah. I mean, accusations like that, they can spook investors, right? But, and this is interesting, it bounced back pretty quickly.
So maybe investors weren't convinced by Hindenburg's argument? Or maybe they just didn't care as long as those games were popular.
It's hard to say for sure, but it does make you think about how much weight we give to these reports.
Yeah.
Are they the smoking gun, or are they just one piece of a much larger puzzle?
Yeah, good point.
Speaking of puzzles, let's get to our next company, Block, or as some people still call it, Square.
Ah, yes.
Block. This one gets a little, let's just say a little more interesting.
Interesting.
What did Hindenburg dig up on them? Well, they took aim at Block's Cash App, the peer-to-peer payment app.
Yeah.
And they didn't hold back.
Okay, lay it on me. What'd they find?
Their report, it implied the Cash App was basically a breeding ground for criminal activity.
Whoa, hold on. Criminal activity? Like what?
Money laundering, illicit transactions, you name it. They were pointing the finger at it. They painted this picture of Cash App as this platform that was just like turning a blind eye to all this shady stuff happening right under their noses.
And why? To boost their own numbers.
Right. The insinuation was that they were, potentially benefiting from all this illegal activity because it made their User numbers and revenue look good.
So a classic case of no such thing as bad publicity.
Well, not exactly. I mean, they weren't saying Block was, like, endorsing this activity.
Yeah.
But they were definitely implying that they were willing to overlook it to a certain extent.
Wow. Okay, I'm starting to see why Hindenburg's reports get so much attention. They don't like pull any punches.
That's for sure. And this Block report, it had a really, how should I put it? A unique piece of evidence.
Unique how? Don't tell me they found a secret spreadsheet hidden in the cloud or something.
Even better, they cited .rap lyrics.
Wait, seriously? Rap lyrics?
Yeah. They were pointing to all these references to Cash App in, certain rap songs that talk about, let's just say, less than legal ways of making money.
So they're using rap music as evidence of criminal activity. That's a new one.
Well, their argument was that it showed how popular Cash App was within, let's say, certain circles. Like if rappers are name-dropping your app in songs about, those kinds of activities, it suggests that maybe your platform is, well, maybe it's not as squeaky clean as you'd like people to believe.
I mean, it's definitely attention-grabbing. I have to give them that.
Yeah.
Not exactly the kind of analysis you'd find in, like, the Wall Street Journal.
Exactly. Hindenburg, they have a way of really capturing the narrative. They know how to tell a story. And those stories, well, they can really move the market. But whether those stories hold up under scrutiny, that's a whole other question.
Okay, so Block stock, another company, another scathing Hindenburg report. What happened? Did it follow the same pattern as Roblox?
It's funny you should ask that because it did. Block stock, it took a hit initially. I mean, accusations like that, they're going to make investors nervous.
Yeah, I'd be freaking out a little.
Rightfully so. But here's the thing. Just like Roblox, Block stock, it eventually recovered. So again, it begs the question, did the market just not buy Hindenburg's argument? Or was there more to the story?
Okay, so 2 for 2. 2 companies, 2 Hindenburg reports, 2 stock dips, and 2 recoveries. Is this a trend?
Well, our third company, Supermicrocomputer, they might tell a different story.
All right, let's get into it. What did Hindenburg have to say about Supermicrocomputer? So Supermicrocomputer, they're a tech company too, right?
They are, yeah. But they're not in the same space as Roblox or Block. They're more into like the hardware side of things, server storage, that kind of stuff.
Okay, so what did Hindenburg have to say about them? Did they find some, like, secret server farm where they're cooking the books?
Not quite, but their allegations this time, they were, let's just say they were a little more direct.
Direct how?
Well, instead of focusing on, user metrics or ties to unsavory activities, they went straight for the financial jugular. They accused Supermicrocomputer of accounting irregularities.
Accounting irregularities. That sounds serious.
It can be. Essentially, they were alleging that the company was manipulating their financial records, making it seem like they were more profitable than they actually were.
And the goal there being what? To attract investors.
Exactly. Inflated profits, they usually lead to a higher stock price, at least in the short term. But it's not exactly sustainable, is it?
Definitely not. So how did Supermicrocomputer respond to these allegations? Did they deny it?
They did, yeah. They denied any wrongdoing. But their actions, they kind of spoke louder than words, you know what I mean?
What do you mean?
Well, after the Hindenburg report came out, they delayed their annual report filing, said they needed to conduct an internal review.
That's kind of like saying you need to check your receipts after someone accuses you of shoplifting, right?
Yeah, kind of makes you wonder what they're worried about finding, doesn't it?
It does. So 3 companies, 3 Hindenburg reports, 3 very different stories. It's a lot to unpack, and I'm sure some of our listeners are thinking, okay, interesting, but what does this have to do with me? I'm not a short seller. I'm not even sure I could explain what a short seller is.
Right, and that's fair. But here's the thing. These stories, they highlight something really important, something that goes beyond just Wall Street or, the world of finance. It's about information.
Information, okay.
Yeah. We live in this age of information overload, right? We're bombarded with it constantly. News, social media, those investing apps that are always sending you notifications.
Yeah.
It can be overwhelming.
Totally. It's like you never know what to believe anymore.
Exactly. And that's why these Hindenburg cases are so interesting, I think. They remind us that we can't just passively consume information. We have to be active, be critical, ask questions.
So it's not just about, like, checking the source of an article or seeing if a tweet is from a verified account. It's about going deeper, right?
Exactly. Like, with these companies that Hindenburg targeted, did you know that you can actually go online and look at their financial statements yourself?
Really? Like anyone can do that?
Pretty much, yeah. The SEC, they have this database. It's called EDGIR, and it's basically this treasure trove of company filings, financial statements, legal proceedings, all kinds of stuff, and it's all publicly available.
So what you're saying is if we want to be truly informed investors, we have to be willing to do our own homework.
100%. And look, get it. It can seem intimidating at first. Financial statements, they're not exactly light reading,
Right.
but there are resources out there that can help make sense of it all. There are websites, books, even, those online courses that can teach you the basics.
So it's like becoming financially fluent.
Exactly. The more you understand the language of finance, the better equipped you'll be to make smart decisions with your money. Whether you're thinking about investing in a company or even just understanding, your own personal finances.
That's some solid advice.
Yeah.
Knowledge is power, right?
Always, especially when it comes to navigating the often turbulent waters of the stock market.
That's for sure. This has been fascinating. Thanks for, for walking us through it all.
My pleasure. Always happy to dive deep.
I'll bet you are.